I'm a 17-year-old male. When I was around 9 my dad, 39 meters, started seeing a friend of my mom's, cheated on my mom, they married, and they now have 3 kids together. My dad asked for custody, and he was granted to have me on weekends. He seemed happy to have me, and always tried to include me in everything, but it was kind of weird and frustrating. He even tried to make me call his wife mom, and went for full custody several times. Since being with his wife, and making me accept his new family was more important than spending actual time with me alone, I stopped going to his house when I was 14. He tried to fight for full custody after my mom started dating my stepdad, a nice guy, but I told him to stop. The other reason why I stopped going, I never told my dad this one, is because his wife was so hostile towards me. My dad used to pay attention to me when I was there, so I think she didn't like it that way, and one day told me behind my dad's back that I was an obstacle to my dad's happiness, that I should just stay with my mom full time. Their anniversary was 5 days ago. I didn't want to go, but he called my mom to threaten that if I didn't go, he'd go to court. He took his 4 kids, including me, his wife, his parents, and his parents-in-law to celebrate at a nice restaurant. Once there he said that he had 6 tickets for vacations. I didn't say anything, but then he looked at me and said, "1 is for you." I said thanks, but I'm not going. He seemed angry and said, "Okay, I had enough. Why don't you want to go?" Just because. I said, but then he asked the same questions 5 more times. So the 6th time I said, "Because I hate your wife." Then he started asking why over and over again. So I ended up telling him the mean things she said to me. He was seemingly uncomfortable, but told us to finish our meal. No one talked for the rest of the night, and after we finished I asked my stepdad to pick me up. I haven't spoken to my dad since. He just sent me a message asking if I changed my mind about the trip, but I said no. My cousin told me that my dad is staying at my grandparents' now. His wife texted me yesterday calling me a brat and asking if I was happy for potentially destroying my half-sibling's home life. But I just ignored her. My cousin says that the kids are hurt and crying because my dad isn't at home, and she says that I should just have said other things or agree and then tell him later that I wasn't going. NTA. He asked a question and you were honest. Send him the screenshot of stepmom's text and then block her number. Or if op isn't seriously bothered by them, currently not the case, since they are posting here, but hopefully changed after all the positive responses, they can just keep forwarding any future messages. NTA. You didn't ruin the marriage, she did by not accepting you and your dad are a package deal. She pushed you away, his own son, because she couldn't stand having to share attention. Your dad's marriage was doomed the moment she uttered those words behind his back. You did the right thing by telling the truth to your dad. Make sure to save all of her hateful messages in case she tries to lie her way out. Take care, and I hope things improve with your dad. Not to mention she ruined Op's home life. Pretty rich of her to blame Op for ruining his half-sibling's home life when she did it to him first. She is the problem here. NTA. NTA. Forward her texts to your dad and ask her not to contact you. This is the way. He needs to know. NTA. This sounds like a situation of their own making. If she is as hostile toward you as you say, you have no obligation to want to be around her. Your father is the one who put you on the spot and pushed the situation in a very public way. The situation sucks for your half-sibs, but it is not your fault. The fact that the stepmother messaged you and called you names should be an indication that you made the right choice to not go on the trip for the right reasons. Happy Cake Day. NTA. You're not responsible for your father's marriage. You didn't make his wife say awful things to you. Who knows, maybe she's why you don't have a great relationship with him. I imagine dad is replaying the last few years in his head. It is obvious he wants his son with him. I know it sounds bad, but involving the courts over and over screams to be a level of desperation that involves parental alienation. Dad probably thought it was mom and not stepmom keeping son away. Now he knows the truth. I have very little sympathy for him as he cheated. He fucked around and found out. NTA. Screenshot the message and send it in a group message to your dad, stepmom and mom. How your dad reacts should give you perspective on the type of relationship you can have with him. Yes, definitely, and I think the dad has already given him an indication of that by moving out. I honestly think dad feels bad about how his wife treated his son. My dad called me today, saying that if I change my mind about the trip, it'd only be me, his sons and him. But I don't know. I told him that I'd think about it. Honestly, at this point, if I were you, I'd go just to spite my stepmom. NTA. For a 17-year-old guy, you have some tact, which is incredibly refreshing and makes me optimistic about the future. So good for you. Yes, you could/should have waited to say you weren't going in private, but your dad's behavior after repeatedly asking the same questions makes me think it wouldn't have ended there. So you said no. To your credit, you attempted to not ruin the meal by not answering the following why questions you were bombarded with. You tried. He wouldn't let it go. So you finally just answered. Nothing nice about that. Now for a grown woman to tell a child, her stepson no less, that the kid is standing in the way of his father's happiness. Now that's classy. If stepmom and dad want to play stupid games, they don't get to whine about stupid prizes. Op really should take screenshots of her continuing to bully him and send them to his father. She hasn't learned and is still trying to manipulate Opus. NTA, your step is a grown woman. She said these things to you. She clearly shouldn't. It's her own fault. I honestly can't believe that people are telling you you should lie on her behalf. You shouldn't. Your father was persistent when you said because he could have guessed that the real reason was not for the occasion. He is grown man. He chose to dig. Also not your fault. And all in all, blaming you for her shitty behavior was a true lame move from your step. But what truly makes me mad about your situation is that other people try to tell you that it's your fault somehow. I'd like you to know it's not. You tried not to bring this subject at that time. It's not always possible. Also telling you that you destroyed her children live. Well, that's on her too. She shouldn't be jerked to you to begin with. Now your stepmother has ruined 2 marriages. NTA. His dad helped a lot. NTA. This is none of your cousin's business. This is between you and your dad. You don't owe anybody else so much as a single breath. She did this. She alone did this. Your dad knows you told the truth. You might want to think about reaching out to him. Make it clear you want him in your life, but not her. I can't imagine how hard this must be for you. Be well. Oh, dad is a grown-ass man who needs to take responsibility for all of his own bad behavior. Cheating, breaking up his son's family, trying to get his son to call his app mom, abusing the op's actual mom with repeated custody suits, and flat ignoring for almost a decade his app's abuse of his son. His wife texted me yesterday calling me a brat and asking if I was happy for potentially destroying my half-sibling's home life. That's rich coming from the woman who actually did do that to *YOUR* home life. And yes, Op's father bears the most blame, but his app also betrayed her friend in the process. NTA. NTA, you gave an honest answer. She should have never said that to you, so the blame really lies with her. NTA buddy, I'm sorry you're going through this, but good for you for standing up and telling the truth. Make sure you show him those texts. NTA, and I would send the texts to your dad. However, your dad also sucks. His wife mistreating you is only a part of the problem, but you shouldn't be scared into spending time with him because he keeps threatening your mother about custody. You're 17, almost a legal adult. No judge will grant your father custody of you at this point. I would tell him to stop at this point. You have basically no relationship with him, and it's his fault. If one day he decided to own up to his mistakes, I'd rethink it, but he sounds like a self-centered asshole that only cares about himself. No judge will grant him custody, but I speak from experience that going to court is still a pain in the ass. Even if it's completely frivolous, you still have to pay for a lawyer, etc. My father was able to really wreck my mother's finances by going to court again and again for stupid up until I was 18. But you're right that his father would never get custody of Op at 17 unless he also wanted it, and his dad is a D** for threatening it in the first place. NTA, it isn't your responsibility to act like an adult She made her bed and can now sleep in it. It was your dad's decision to try to not lose his relationship with you, and his decision after you told him the truth. If you want, you can speak to him personally and tell him you are willing to spend time with him alone and would like to continue to have a relationship with your dad, but without her or your step siblings present because of the previous issues. It sounds like he just wants to have a relationship with you, but ultimately it's your decision, so don't let anyone tell you what to do or force you to waver your decision. Also, his new wife sounds like a major acting like that to a child and then telling you to bear the responsibility and hurt his feelings. You did nothing wrong. If anything, the truth was far overdue and a cause of her actions alone. Edit. Cousins to step siblings. Why talk about acting like an adult at all? Op wasn't childish in this interaction, and I'd say the only childishness here is being convinced they might be tough or responding truthfully after being pressured to. NTA, she had whatever came her way, well deserved. And your father should have seen this all coming along. He would if he had took the time to care about what you were going through. I hope you're happy for destroying our home life, said the actual home wrecker. NTA, but your dad's wife sure is. NTA, your dad and stepmom made their beds. Now they have to lie in them. Forgot both of them. She sounds terrible and your dad seems like a doormat. NTA, I would send another text to him, just saying, can you please ask your wife to stop threatening me and harassing me? And remember, she destroyed her own marriage. When you marry someone with kids, you love them because your partner loves them. They are a part of your family. She knew you were a part of his life, and if she didn't want that, she had an out before she got married or had kids or whatever. But the level of unhinged a grown woman would go to a child to bully them to stop seeing their parent. She is not a good or a safe person to be around. If she had a problem with the time he was spending, then he should have talked to her own partner, not a child. And it speaks volumes that you didn't feel safe and comfortable telling your dad what she said. NTA, and pardon my French, but screw that manipulative step monster. I'm sorry she did that to you. I truly wish your dad had made you feel safe to come to you when she told you that. Maybe reach out to your dad to talk to him. Only if you want, and not to try to comfort him about this situation. He should have seen the signs, and I bet he is kicking himself in the asterisk now, but maybe you two can write a new chapter together. You let him and that step wench deal with their bullshit, as none of it is your responsibility. His wife texted me yesterday calling me a brat and asking if I was happy for potentially destroying my half-sibling's home life. But I just ignored her. It's not on the minor to be an abusive asshole's secret keeper. It's on your stepmom to slam her jabber jaw shut and have never said what she said out of obvious jealousy. If this has caused drama in your dad's marriage, it's probably because your words weren't hard to believe. Your cousin is wrong-headed to assume you are to blame for this when you were harassed for an answer and gave it. NTA, edit. Screen cap the stepmom's message and send it your dad's way. He deserves to know how reptilian the woman he cheated with is. NTA. He asked, actually demanded you answer him, so you did. The only person who ruined his marriage is her. She is the asshole, not you. NTA, you have a good reason to dislike your stepmother. NTA, his wife ruined the marriage, not you. This is 100% her fault. You did nothing wrong. If you're comfortable with it, send your dad a screenshot of what his wife sent. His wife texted me yesterday calling me a brat and asking if I was happy for potentially destroying my half-sibling's home life. But I just ignored her. Is she for real? The homewrecker is angry that you made your dad angry with her. The level of entitlement is insane here. You're obviously NTA here. NTA, she was rude to you. Said rude things and she now has consequences for her actions. Action meet reaction. NTA, amongst all the people in this scene, you were the most mature. Whatever happens to your dad's marriage is not your fault. It's theirs, your dad and stepmom. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. NTA, and your post hurts me to read. I've lived most of my life with a hostile and cruel stepmom, and it is so incredibly hurtful. Your dad did take action and leave when he realized her treatment of you, though. This is more than mine ever did. My dad allowed me to be her punching bag and just silently watched it because that made his life easier. Only time will tell how your dad will deal with the situation long term. I hope he puts you first and holds her accountable. A father should protect his child, even from his wife if necessary. I strongly advise you to set firm boundaries with the people in your life that intentionally cause you harm. Those who hurt, belittle and exclude you for fun. Don't allow it. Not for your dad. Not for your siblings. Not for anyone. If you don't want to go on this vacation, don't. Do what you must to protect yourself. Like you, I have also been blessed with a wonderful stepdad. So invest in the relationships that are good for you. NTA